So I have to admit that I've taken the liberty of adjusting my topics slightly tonight to focus on sexual violence and social change. I thought it would make for a little bit more of an uplifting presentation on a dark November evening at 8 o'clock at night, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. There are a few points that I wanted you to take away with you tonight, and they're not new points, they're not novel points, but maybe the way that you think about the points that I'm going to share might shift a little bit. So the 3 points are sexual violence against women is pervasive and impacts us all. The second point is violence against women is an indicator of prevailing societal attitudes about women. And the third point is that through education and advocacy, social change is possible. So my first point is that sexual violence against women is pervasive and impacts us all. We see violence against women on the news every day. Often this violence is portrayed as individual operations. So we've all heard of one sick man killing his wife, one deranged rapist raping women in the park, one organization that has a rampant issue of sexual harassment. Our center is often called by the media for a statement when such an attack occurs or such harassment occurs. And when given the opportunity, I really encourage the reporters to look at the larger systemic picture as well as the individual crimes. Putting individual crimes into context, we uncover a pattern of behavior. According to a 2006 Stats Canada report, over a third of women have experienced in Canada some form of sexual assault in their lifetime. According to that same report, over 93% of reported adult victims of sexual assault are female, while over... I thought maybe my laptop was going out there. While over 97% of those accused are male. It's clear that we're looking at a gendered crime. We know that sexual assault is not about sexual desire. It's about power and control. So what do these numbers mean for our community? Well, on average each year in the Waterloo region, there are about 500 sexual assault reports to police. In 2011, there were 555 reports to police. It's very well documented that less than 10% of sexual assaults are reported to police. So if there's 555 reported, we can easily, conservatively estimate that the number is 10 times or more higher than that. Violence against women impacts us all. I've never done this before. I'm going to see what happens. I'm wondering if I can have a show of hands. And the show of hands is, do you know anyone in your life, a woman, who has either experienced domestic violence or sexual violence? And not to, don't ask people about why they put their hand up, but I just want to see, if you know a woman who's had an experience of violence, could you raise your hand? So if you're looking around the room, there was only a couple of hands that weren't raised. In his book, The Macho Paradox, activist and educator Jackson Katz writes of a really powerful exercise that he uses to talk about how sexual violence impacts all our lives. And I'm going to paraphrase him, and I'm going to read a little bit because what he writes is actually, it's so poignant that I just want to read his words. So when he's doing presentations in schools and in the community, he draws a line down the middle of the chalkboard, sketching a male symbol on one side and a female symbol on the other. Then he asks just the men, what do you guys do on a daily basis to prevent yourselves from being sexually assaulted? At first, he writes of an awkward silence as the men trying to figure out if they've been asked a trick question. There's often nervous laughter. Occasionally a young guy raises his hand and says he stays out of prison. This is typically followed by another moment of laughter, before someone finally raises his hand and soberly states, nothing, I don't think about it. Then he asks women the same question. What steps do you take on a daily basis to prevent yourselves from being sexually assaulted? Women throughout the audience start raising their hands. As the men sit in stunned silence, the women recount safety precautions they take as part of a daily routine. Here are some of their answers. I'm keys as a potential weapon. Look in the backseat of the car before getting in. Carry a cell phone. Don't go jogging at night. Lock all the windows before I go to sleep, even on hot summer nights. Be careful not to drink too much. Don't put my drink down and come back to it. Make sure I see it before. Own a big dog. Carry mace or pepper spray. Have an unlisted phone number. Have a man's voice on my answering machine. Park in well-lit areas. Don't use parking garages. Don't get on elevators with only one man or a group of strange men. Vary my route home from work. Watch what I wear. Use a home alarm system. Don't wear headphones while jogging. Avoid forests and wooded areas even in the day. Don't take a first-floor apartment. Go out in groups. Meet men and dates on first dates in public places. Don't make eye contact with men on the street. Make assertive eye contact with men on the street. The exercise goes on, and invariably the board fills up on the women's side. Many women say that their list is like an unconscious mental checklist, and they don't think of their daily routine in terms of larger cultural or political issues. I'd say that that exercise demonstrates very well that sexual violence impacts all of us, even if we've not had that experience. My second point is that violence against women is an indicator of prevailing societal attitudes about women. Just like any other social condition, violence against women doesn't happen in a vacuum. We define sexual violence as anything that violates the sexual integrity of an individual. As I've shared already, sexual violence is not about desire, it's about power and control. I also shared that it's a gendered crime perpetrated primarily by men, targeting primarily women and children, and that's girls and boys. Have people heard when we're reporting violence against women on the news, other people talking, and they said that a man lost control? So people would know that that's a typical kind of language that we hear. This is really important. Acts of sexual violence and physical violence against women are not the result of a man losing control. Violence is a means of control, and that's a very important distinction. If the issue is the need to be dominant and exert power and control over women, then clearly sexual violence is an indicator of social attitudes about women. This means that working to change these attitudes and move towards greater gender equality will have the impact of reducing violence against women. There are some that believe that in our nation that women have achieved equality and there's no need for feminism anymore. Indeed, some have gone as far as to paint feminism and feminists in a negative light. My question whenever I hear that is, who benefits from that understanding of feminism? Because that's not, feminism is